a strain on his throwing shoulder. What does this mean essentially? It's essentially a muscle strain. And I guess this is not that huge of a deal, but nonetheless, it is something to talk about because it is the Cowboys quarterback. And it is a quarterback who signed a monster deal over the offseason, one that we had talked about a ton, right? And so what about Dak Prescott, who's also recovering from an ankle injury, a gruesome one that happened last season. And so he's back into the fold. But what does this all mean for him? Well, here's Dak Prescott, the Cowboys quarterback, with our own Ed Werder on how he's feeling.
Where are you in recovering from this injury that you suffered?
I'm just getting better, doing everything I need to. Obviously taking all the precautions, getting all the treatments I am, just working my way back out here, but being smart with it.
Okay, so being smart with it, what you would assume that the Dallas Cowboys quarterback is going to say. But nonetheless, when there is something like perhaps the quarterback not throwing the football at training camp because he's got some soreness in that muscle, we have to make a big deal out of it. I do want to point this out, though, Bart, because I've seen a lot of people on social media starting to freak out about this, and I understand.
Yeah.
But the Cowboys have been in training camp because of the Hall of Fame game longer than everyone else. And you would assume that Dak has been working, this is what I'm assuming. He has been working mostly on his feet work and his ankle and his legs to be sure those are up to speed and not throwing as much. And so throwing the football a lot would, maybe cause a little bit of shoulder straining.
Or tendonitis, right? Because he's using a muscle, or maybe he's overthrowing. My concern is that maybe he's overcompensating and maybe his throwing motion has changed because his plant in his feet isn't the same, right? We all have compensation. Like I said before, I had reconstructive toe surgery on my right toe, my great right toe. So now I get knee tendonitis in my left knee. So I just wonder if maybe his throwing motion has changed and changed the angle of which he delivers the football.
And so he's got to get used to that.
Right. I mean, but this week is definitely a week that you want to miss. I mean, first of all, he probably wouldn't have even played in the Hall of Fame game anyway because they still have that extra game. So, you want to make sure that you protect him anyway. And the Steelers are the wrong team that you want to go against in the preseason, especially, when it's, the first week. This is actually probably a blessing in disguise that they have that built-in excuse for everybody that wants to see Dak and how the new offense looks or the offense has progressed now that he's back underneath the helm.
Okay, I'm going to go back to the Steelers in just a minute because I do want to talk about them, but I want to stay here with Dak Prescott just because I want to know from your perspective, obviously someone who's been through training camp, has played in the league, like how important these training camp snaps are. Forget the game. Forget the Hall of Fame game because it's pretty obvious we're not going to see starting quarterbacks across the National Football League. I don't care who you are. But nonetheless, Dak Prescott is coming off an injury. This is a make or break it season for the Dallas Cowboys. How important is it for him to get these snaps in training camp that he's not getting because of this strain on his shoulder, that he's not putting together chemistry with those receivers that we know that he needs to do? I know that he knows these guys, but he hasn't, So how important is that he's not getting that?
See, that's you. I mean, you hit the nail on the head right there when you said that this isn't a new offense anymore, right? He knows his offense, and now it's about finding the nuance within it, right? So, I mean, you missing some time with your guys, but he did play with these guys all the last training camp and through the season. He had a lot of success. Really the second year of the season is growing packages, right? It's knowing how defenses are going to play you in certain situations and being able to learn like the nonverbal communication with your receivers. It's that next level chemistry with guys where you can see the coverage is the same and things of that sort. But if I'm an opponent, I see blood in the water. I see a guy that you got any injury on the injury report, I'm going after it, right? So, I mean, if I'm guys, I'm trying to tackle Dak's arms so he can't get it above his head so that I can drive that shoulder into the ground. So I can just loosen it up. You never know, especially if it's an NFC opponent. You never know. You might see him again. So it's like trying to chip away at the wood. You know what I mean? So you just taking swipes at it. So, I think it's good that they're being cautious with him and because they're going to need him for the entire season to be successful to get where they want to go.
True. So he had four fully healthy games with the Dallas Cowboys last year. Dak Prescott did. Right. In those games, they were just 1-3. The only win over that stretch was a 1-point victory over a Falcons team.
Way to go, Falcons.
That was 4-12. Okay, let's just.
You got to go back. You got to go back. They botched the onside kick.
I was just about to say, and if you remember, they forgot the onside kick rules at the end of the game. Okay, completely forgot. So, what kind of pressure does that give for the Dallas Cowboys this year? Well, Dallas won the Super Bowl in 1995. From 1996 to today, like legit today, August 2nd, they have only 4 playoff wins since then. So it's been a minute for the Dallas Cowboys. And so that opens up this question. Which playoff team from last year will miss the playoffs this year? And which teams that missed the playoffs last year will make it this year? Which teams have most pressure when it comes to that? Give us a call, 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-SAY-ESPN. Okay. So we'll get more into that in just a little bit, but I want to go back to something that you said earlier that I think is important. Come Friday, we're going to be overreacting to the Hall of Fame game between the Dallas Cowboys and the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's what we do. That's part of the job. What will be the overreaction? You pointed out the Steelers are the worst team to play in the preseason. Why?
So Steelers, Ravens, and any Rex Ryan defense is the worst team. I've seen guys and coordinators cuss Rex out week one because guess what? The blitz package is in. Like the entire blitz package is in for the first game. It doesn't matter. So you have 5 guys coming off a side. They're like, man, what the hell, man? Like, really, you trying to kill my quarterback like that? And the Steelers are the same way, right? That blitz package is in. So you're going to get like week 5, week 6 blitz packages, and you go like, man, come on, man. It's like if anybody remembers Rocky when Apollo was fighting Ivan Drago, like, yo, this is supposed to be an exhibition. You ain't supposed to have no we ain't even put that in on the offensive side of the ball. We ain't even put the full slide with the guard mollying out. Like, come on, man. Like, really, man, can you do me a favor? But you listen, the Steelers are who they are, right? And they're gonna come and they're gonna bring it. Blitzburg is Blitzburg for a reason, and they better be prepared for that. And I don't worry about like the first guys because they only go play it. Like, just think, the backups, Tyron Smith, they're going to play a series, maybe a first quarter, and then the backups are going to come in. And whoever that quarterback is, barbecue chicken. Barbecue chicken. To quote Shaqstradamus, barbecue chicken.
So I didn't even know that about the Pittsburgh Steelers. I just assumed it. Like you and I haven't talked about this until legitimately right now. So I just assumed it. And so this just furthers my belief because come Friday, that's what I thought we'd be talking about. How prepared the Steelers are with their 2s and 3s and how unprepared the Dallas Cowboys are with their 2s and 3s.
And they got a Steeler going into the Hall of Fame. Oh, they going to put on a show for Alan Faneca. I mean, they going to be blitzing everybody, corners, safeties. I mean, they don't care. The Bear Fire Zone, they're going to cross both of them linebackers. That is a Steelers staple. And if you don't know, young fella, and you the running back, you better understand.
Well, see, so my thought process also was, and you might tell me I'm overreacting here, but the Dallas Cowboys week 1 have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, okay? It's a Thursday primetime game. I mean, we're all have it circled on our calendar. Obviously, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers being the reigning Super Bowl champs, and the Cowboys coming off a very disappointing season with only 6 wins. So if I'm Mike McCarthy, why would I show my cards at all in this game? Like, let them go out there and look sloppy. Let everyone talk about how terrible our offense and defense is and how nobody's prepared 2s, 3s, and beyond. Let them, because then come week 1 against the Buccaneers, we better show up in a big way. And so that was going to be my angle, not even knowing that you saying this about it's a well-known thing that the Steelers are the worst team to play in the preseason.
Yeah, I mean, but, the thing is you have to protect yourself, too, because if you don't have some type of plan, you can get somebody hurt, and you can get a good player hurt. Not those first-line players, it's those secondary-line players, because you always have those veterans, because you can't rest everybody that's a veteran, right? It's not that many players. So, and you can't overwork the young players because they still have to play special teams. So you got to watch their snap count. What you worry about is like the guys like, not CeeDee Lamb, he won't be out there, but like the tight end, or you worry about like the 4th receiver because now he's going to be overextended and he's trying to pick up these blitzes. And let me tell you something. They're going to be, listen, Blitzburg going to be